Okay, recording this video after close of trade Wednesday, 7th of January 2015. Hope you had a good day's trading today. Well, we are trying to find a bottom. I don't think we're quite there yet, but I'll show you what I'm looking at on my charts. So the 40,500 tip bar chart, this is this big kind of downtrend move that we've been in almost kind of 100 points down over the last 3 or 4 days. We broke a support, key support up here. After putting in bearish divergence, we had all this kind of lack of demand stuff over Christmas, and then we've kind of fallen off into this downtrend. We are trying to make pullback to end of trend on this 40,500 tip bar chart, and that's what, once we do that, then this will be kind of a confirmed bottom, and we can have a decent rally from there. But we still got a little bit of time and testing to do on the downside. The reason why we're likely to be in is because we've had a nice exhaustion sell signal down here with yesterday, Tuesday's trade, and that kind of bottomed the market, and we had a little bit of a rally at the end of the day and kind of overnight. And even today we had FOMC was out, the notes were out this afternoon, and really nothing kind of happened. I thought we might kind of push down during after those notes were released and test this bottom again, but no, we haven't had that yet. Usually when you get a bullish divergence or a bearish divergence right on the zero line, I kind of look for another kind of push down that's a little bit deeper than this, but not as extremely exhaustion sell. So I'll be looking for that over the next day and a half. We've still got to make pullback to end of trend, and you can see the blue professional bars have come in on the highs here, and we haven't really seen one coming at the lows for this last kind of move down. So that's what I'd be looking for over the next day and a half. It kind of ties in also with the 45-minute chart, and I always say the 40,500 and the 45-minute chart are very similar. You can see the pattern that we've made here. Pull back to end of trend is what we've got to do on the 45-minute chart when this better sine wave kind of crosses and moves down, and we've had exhaustion and sell on the downside. So all of that is this, we just need another kind of pass back down to put in that end of trend and test kind of below this 2000 level. But all the other stuff is starting to come together. The 35-minute chart, which is a multiple of 3 times the 45-minute chart. You know, we've got a cyclical support kind of come in there, trying to hold us, and we've got a little bit of time to run on the daily chart. So again, 3 times 135-minute charts, the daily chart here. Resistance has come in, support has still got to be made, and we've got, you know, a day or two before we get that cross on better sine wave down here. We've pushed all the way back down into where the blue professional bars picked it up at this last kind of rally point. You know, so we've had these series blue professional bars coming on the dip, we head back up, blue professional bars coming on the dip, head back up, same thing third time around. And each time we come into those highs, you can see these Rambo patterns here. Rambo stands for potential reversal of an amateur breakout, and it just shows lack of demand and the amateurs kind of leading the way. So the amateurs get wrong-footed here, the professionals pick it up when we get a decent sell-off. Amateurs get wrong-footed here, the professionals pick it up. Wrong-footed, professionals pick it up, and this is over Christmas. You know, the amateurs were up here kind of trading over the Christmas period, and we're waiting for, you know, what we need. Be nice to see on the daily chart is a nice big blue professional down bar as that cyclical kind of support kind of comes in, and that for me will be a better bottom than what we'd seen over the last kind of day and a half. In terms of valuation, this is the equities market versus the bond market. I'll link to this. You can get this indicator for free. It just shows the overbought and oversold situations when you look at, because the money flows between, you know, equities and bonds. They can both be moving up and moving down together, but they have kind of relative value compared to each other. So the money kind of tends to flow backwards and forwards between the two, and you get periods where, you know, the market is oversold versus bonds, overbought versus bonds, oversold, overbought, and so on. And we've come back down into this kind of big period here where we're kind of oversold a little bit versus bonds. So, you know, buying opportunities in the equities market compared to the bond market, because the bond market is rallying quite hard. This is kind of a weird bar. This one up here, I'm using the SPY contract so I can look at the two data streams together on TradeStation. This was this fat finger trade that happened on the SPY, and so it's given us this kind of weird looking bar. That does not exist on the futures on the ES, the mini kind of contract. Just have to live with that. I don't think it's a real kind of, you know, type of activity, but anyway, it is part of the data picture. You can also look at the same thing, equities versus the yen. So this is the yen carry trade. And again, the yen's been coming down, but there are periods where the yen kind of goes to an extreme versus the equities, and you have shifts back, a little bit of profit taking, a little bit of kind of money flowing back into the yen. So same deal, oversold, overbought with red and white and so on, oversold, overbought, overbought, oversold, overbought, and we've come back into versus the yen an oversold kind of condition on the equities. So valuation wise, kind of yen and the bonds means that the equity market should be seeing a little bounce soonish, but I still don't think it's quite in because we've not seen this cyclical cross on the daily chart. So day trading wise, nice little day trade. First thing, took 2 bites at it. I'll add this to the video, but this is the setup for it. So yesterday's activity on the 4,500 tip bar chart. So this is the open on Tuesday, the close on Tuesday. This is the overnight activity, and this is the open on Wednesday with this grey vertical dotted line. So yesterday we sold off super hard, pullback to end of trend, and then we put in exhaustion sell, first bullish divergence, a flush pattern here, and right at the bottom, down at the bottom there, we had these Rambo patterns kind of come in with the amateurs getting wrong-footed, and we rally back. We had a short covering rally, and we tested back at the end of the day, and started our rally off with, I think we had ADP numbers, employment numbers, kind of pre-open. But anyway, so bottoming had happened yesterday, and so we'd see, basically a change of trend happening here. This move was not over until we saw pullback to dirty end of trend here. And this for me was what was quite interesting, kind of coming into the highs here on the FOMC. You can see all these blue professional bars after exhaustion buy and bearish divergence, and we're coming back at the end of the day. Again, with these we're finding it difficult to get through 2020, and so that's why tomorrow we potentially could go back down and kind of test the lows. But anyway, so the way this kind of set up, we're in an uptrend, so we're looking for opportunities once the market opens to kind of jump on board. And when you go down to the 500 tip bar chart, we had amateurs going short at the beginning. This little blue professional bar, that's the bar I jumped in. The break of the high of that took us into this little uptrend. Jumped out after just 2.5 points because it started to weaken. I'd moved my target out. My target was sitting at 13, and I'd squeezed it out to 15. And although it got hit here, we kind of went into this retrace. So I just jumped out after 2.5, and then jumped back in as soon as we had blue professional bars kind of coming back in and supports holding. And then we start to rally into a little bit of an exhaustion move, and there's the exhaustion move on the 1500 tip bar chart. Blue professional bars taking profits, exhaustion buy, and so on. Little kind of micro little move at the beginning of the day. The bigger picture is this one, is that we bottomed yesterday, we had a rally today, we found it difficult to get through 2020, so that's kind of a key level. Let's see what happens with tomorrow's trade. We could blast through this and come back down, but at some point I think we're going to have to test back down into this and put in another pullback to end of trend on the 45-minute chart, something like that. Anyway, let's see how tomorrow works out. Hope your trading went well today. Okay, just got long 12 even, long 12 even, and I'm just moving my target to 15, which was the stretch target on the first trade. So we reached the previous high here and just sold off, and that's why I just jumped out of this last long trade. But we've had blue professional bars come in here breaking above the highs of that, so they picked it up at the lows, just kind of anxious to get into it, bang on the way up. So amateur up bar, which isn't great, not enough power to kind of break us through. 14 1/4, the previous high here. So 15 is a little bit of a stretch target when we run some stops. But I need this to get broken, so the 13.5 level to get broken, and then we can have a little bit of a jump to 15. But amateur up bar resistance coming in here, but breaking above resistance here. Yeah, we're still above resistance on 4,500. We're going towards on the 40,500 tip bar chart. This was the big sell-off. So it's actually signal pullback to end of trend, but really that should be happening with pullback end of trend on 4500, so we need to get this thing exhausted before we can have another kind of test back down. Here we go, 1350, Rambo pattern. That's okay because we'll have a little bit of weakness from that, but blue professional bars prior to that and then a Rambo would be worrisome, so let's just hold for 15. Okay, here we go, we just jumped through 1350, we're at 14, no blue professional bar, taking profits yet. Okay, one, just come in. But this is probably going to run a little bit harder. 4,000 on better momentum, but I shouldn't have moved my target on my first trade, which was at 13, that would have been out and clean, so I'm not going to do it again. I'm just going to get out 15 as we come through it. Here we go, come on. Another blue professional bar, just taking profits, but we need a little blow off move. This has got to run to like an 8,000 reading. Bingo! Out of 15 for another 3. Excellent. First trade is 2.5, second trade 3. Very happy with that, but I did move my target, which is not a good thing. But coming through 14 and a quarter was this high overnight, and you could see the stop run just happen here. When they got hit, bang, this thing just easily kind of had the energy to get through to 15s. So some blue professional bars coming in, see what the reading is at the end of this bar. Yeah, it's got further run because we're in an uptrend now, but I'm happy to be out. 852, excellent. Let's see what happens later on today with the minutes when they come out.